So we're live, mics are live. I'll bring you in a little bit. So we're live, mics are live.
Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.
All right. Hi, everybody. How's it going? I am very, very happy. Not only have you been watching some pretty fun hockey there lately, today we have two amazing guests that will join us. And don't worry, my gigantic Irish head will be a lot smaller in just one moment. But we're joined by two of my favorite people, two fantastic people. And when I say this, I really mean it, because I tend to gravitate towards good people, and these are some fantastic people. So we'll be joined in just a moment by Lori Bennett, who one of the smartest analysts out there. If you haven't had a chance to see her, get on Twitter before it dies. It might be going away tonight, and follow her on there as Lori Bennett. I'll get that in the chat in just one moment. And also, we have Amanda Suzuki, or I like to say Mama Suzuki, who graced this earth with the greatest gift Habs fans could have asked for, Captain Nick Suzuki. So Nick's mom will be joining us in just one moment. Also, if you have any questions, throw them in the chat. You all know me. I love to be interactive. I love to have fun with all of you. So you're as big of a part of the show as the guests are and as we are. So we're going to go ahead and get those questions rolling. If you have a question for Lori, you have a question for Amanda, make sure to put it in the chat. We're going to get to them in just one moment. But now a word from our sponsors. Want to bet? You can do it at Sports Interaction Canada Sportsbook. NFL's in full swing. The World Cup is coming up. That's going to be fun to watch. Canada's in it. Hey, pretty hyped. And the hockey season, as you know, is well underway. And we know it's underway because Nick Suzuki keeps scoring every game. So you can bet pre-game, live in play. And there's also a ton of prop bets. Make sure to check out. There's a Cole Caulfield prop bet right now. Is he going to outscore Austin Matthews this year? We don't know. It's made for Canadians by Canadians. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Join now and see all sports betting has to offer. Head to sportsinteraction.com/sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. Ontario only, 19 plus. Please play responsibly. All right, we're going to bring in our guests in just one second here, because not only do I have to warn you, those that know me, where are our guests? Yeah, they should be right there. Oh no, I might have made. I can hear you guys. Oh, Lori, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Amanda, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, well that's great, because I can't see you. But I'm gonna go check right now. Check our actual video to see if they can see you. Those that know me. Where are guys? Okay, no, so they can't see us. So here's what we're gonna do. Andrew's gonna text me in the meantime. I might have made. I can hear you guys. Oh, Lori, can you hear me? All right, Andrew's gonna. I'm watching the video right now, and Andrew's going to text me and tell me exactly what's wrong. But in the meantime, I just want to point out, Amanda, they can't see your beautiful smile right now. Actually, there must be something off here. I'm gonna get you talking in just one moment. However, what's it like as Nick's mom? I know you're passionate to see your son make such an impact in the NHL. Like, you go back to years ago, driving around to all these tournaments. What's it like to know that he's made it to probably the craziest hockey market in the country, and that he's inspiring so many fans? It must be pretty fun to watch as a mom, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's years and years of driving up and down the 401, cross borders, cross countries. watching your kid play his favorite sport and doing well and being recognized as one of the, one of the top hockey players now in the NHL. So, and now being named captain is just a tremendous achievement for him.
Yeah, well,
Who would have known, like my little Nicholas would be sitting here now being captain of, the Montreal Canadiens. So.
well, exactly, and that's pretty intense as it is. Now, I have a question for you in the sense that that there's a lot of comments. And by the way, for those that are just joining us, I'm incompetent and I couldn't figure out how to get the Zoom to run through this. So I can see them in my Zoom meeting. I see their beautiful smiles. You can't see them. We'll get that fixed in just one moment, or we won't. And you can just imagine their beautiful smiles. But Andrew's on the case. Perfect. We got it. Lori, you've been watching the Canadiens for quite a while. What do you think the impact? Why does Nick Suzuki just change the complete, makeup of this team? Like, what does he bring to the ice that other players haven't been able to do? And are you impressed that he's taken all this? It's so much pressure as a, captain, the richest contract in team history for a forward, youngest captain in team history. What makes Nick Suzuki tick in the sense that he can do all this and look good doing it?
Well, I'm guessing his mother will know, but I'm guessing. But from what I see of Nick, what stands out for me about Nick and stands out for me about a couple of other guys is, but Nick was the start of it for the Habs in this window. He knows who he is. He's a confident guy, and he walks that perfect line of confident without being an ass. If you know what I mean, like without being too cocky, without being ridiculous. He knows who he is. He knows what he can do, and he's just living in it. And you see the same thing with Caulfield. I think we'll eventually see the same thing with Slavkovsky. I think Price had it in a quieter way.
Yeah,
but I think that's the thing you see in Nick Suzuki. It's just that certainty of who he is, and when he decides he's going to go and do what he's going to do, it just happens, and it's a lot of fun to watch. It's the confidence, the certainty, just knowing who he is. That's the exciting thing about Nick Suzuki.
But he's always been that kind of stoic. You were telling me when he was younger, it was between him and Ryan. Ryan was the guy that was teasing him, that was poking fun, that was throwing the turkey at Thanksgiving. But Nick's always been that calm, stoic presence, right?
Always. He's always been a calm, collected kid, not really emotional. Nothing kind of phases him. He just goes with the flow.
Okay.
And he's just always been that way.
And now he takes a little bit from you, but he also takes from Rob, right? And that's where the stoic part comes from, right?
I think he.
By the way, we have video now.
Rob.
We have video now.
Video, good. There you go. We still don't see you, but as long as you see us, I guess that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. It works. So how was that dynamic with you and Rob? Obviously, Nick was always that kind of kid, but when did he become sort of that silent leader, that stoic leader? Was that from a young age?
I think it started, when he was probably like younger, in his 12, 13.
Mm-hmm.
No, it could have been, it's much younger than that. He was the captain of his little West London Hawks team. I think must have been about 8 years old. And I think it started that you could see that he was the quiet, confident leader that he is today. And that was the beginning of the coaches saw something in him and promoted him to the captain of the team that year. And he took that responsibility very seriously.
He seems to, one of the things you had mentioned at one point, Amanda, we spoke a lot. And for those that don't know, Amanda was amazing because during the pandemic, while I worked for the Canadiens, we kind of had to pivot there. We couldn't speak to the players. So I started reaching out to family members, moms, wives, just to see who would be able to help us out. And there's obviously Kat Toffoli, who is amazing, which she might be joining us for the next Calgary game. I'm just going to throw that out there. But obviously, you, Amanda, were just fantastic to us, and you gave us so much of your time. And I think to me that kind of goes to show why Nick is so patient too. He gets a lot of that from you. So I just want to thank you, seriously, not just for everything your son has done, but everything you've done. It's been amazing, and I think Habs fans have obviously jumped, right into the boat, and they love you as much as they love Nick. So thank you for that, Amanda. Now I want to ask you one maybe not so fun question. And Lori, I don't think you can be accused of this, but some people write mean things on the internet. How do you react when you see mean things about your son on the internet?
It's hard not to take some of it personally, but I've learned that it's just somebody's words, and I don't have to like them, and I can just move past them. If he can ignore them, so can I. So it's just somebody's opinion, and we're all entitled to opinion. And so you just move along. It is what it is. There's always going to be naysayers out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I find that there's more positive than the negatives. And so that's just the life of, somebody that's in the limelight, right?
Absolutely. I mean, like Cole Caulfield said at one point, pressure is kind of a privilege in that point, at that stage in your career. Not everyone can handle it, but Lori, when we're talking about Nick Suzuki handling pressure, it's not just the mediatic pressure. He drives the offense, he drives the defense, the neutral zone. What to you has improved the most in his game since he's joined the league? There's a lot to talk about, but in terms of pure skill, Lori, what do you think Nick has improved upon the most?
That's a difficult one. I guess, from the beginning, one of the things that I loved about him immediately, I remember in that first year in the league when he started on the fourth line, one of the things that became obvious about him was that he just made every line better. That whoever he played with, it didn't matter if he was on the fourth line with Nate Thompson, he made Nate Thompson look better than any other winger that played with him. Until he worked his way up. And I think the thing that I'm enjoying about him this year, that, has always been present, I guess, but, this year he's not afraid to just do it himself. That, I'm loving the streak down, the power play thing when he's been streaking down the last couple of games when coming down the right wing and taking that shot. Everyone knows it's going to happen and he's still going to do it. Whips back, turns back to the net, and there he is ready to fire off that shot. But I think this year he's been a little bit more selfish with the puck, and I don't even like the use of that term, but it's the way hockey folks like to talk about it. But he's not afraid to step in and just do it himself this time. This year more than usual. And so I'm loving that about his game. But God, it's hard to find anything to criticize about his game, really. Even if he has a game that is, if he has a game that's not a stellar game. It doesn't stick. Next game, he will make up for it. I saw something on Twitter tonight. I didn't even notice, to be honest, when watching Tuesday night's game, but I saw something that he didn't get a shot on net last game or something. And every time that's happened, he's scored the next game. So it's that whole, ability to just get on with it and not go getting stuck. And, I had a crappy night. Everyone does. Get on with it. I'm loving this year seeing him take the shot more and just taking charge of it and choosing to do it himself. It's a lot of fun to watch.
His evolution, we've watched it in real time. I mean, it's not what a lot of people didn't know too. People were thinking he's just offensive, but Amanda, he was always trusted by his coaches. And by the way, you're getting a shout out here from, they had no question, but from someone named Jackson saying they miss seeing your family at the BW in Owen Sound. I don't know what that is, but it sounds like somewhere.
The Best Western.
Arena.
Oh,
Western.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they're saying hi right there. But
Hi. I miss Owen Sound. I loved going up there and hanging out at the arena and staying I always stayed at the Best Western.
Okay, so that was your hangout spot where you okay.
They were so good to all the parents of the Owen Sound attack.
Well, and this is why I love speaking to parents, because listen, Nick is great and all, but without the effort that you would have put forth, or that you and Rob put forth, there's not much there. Nick's one of those kids that's appreciative about the sacrifice you made in his case, right? Like, I mean, I know the answer to this, but how does he, for example, when that contract went down, when he got named captain. How does he approach that, telling it to you? Because it's different with fans, but you're still mom and dad. So how's the relationship been since Nick? He's a man now, but you're still mom and dad forever. How has that
Yeah.
relationship grown and evolved?
Well, he's his own person now, and we don't like to, intrude on all of his time and whatnot. So we give him a lot of space, and
Hmm.
but he always makes time for Rob and I when we come up for visiting, and always taking care of us, and taking us for dinner and inviting us over, and just including him on the normal side of his life, like what's going on and how's the house come along, and that normal stuff. It's not always hockey stuff, but when he became captain, it was like he FaceTimed us, and he doesn't usually FaceTime me. I usually FaceTime him. So this was kind of interesting when he FaceTimed us, and we all got on the FaceTime. We all connected with our devices, and he told us all at the same time. We got his brother on the line.
Cool.
Rob and I were on the line, and it was great.
What was his first reaction? Listen, the first time we met, Amanda, I said, "Hey, your son's going to be the captain of this team in a few years, right?" And to my surprise, your reaction was like, "Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think that's just about right." But was he expecting it? Do you know that? Like, obviously, he had an idea. No,
we had a night. We obviously, because we follow all the
Mhm.
the hockey boards and the comments and stuff, we knew it could be a possibility. But there, like I've said before, is that there's probably a handful of guys on that team
Yeah.
that could take the responsibility as well. So he is only 23, and we figured he had a shot, but we didn't know for sure.
Mhm.
But we knew that he's going to be there for a long time. So we said eventually he might become captain.
But the youngest captain in the history of the franchise. I mean,
Yeah,
to me,
it's amazing.
Lori,
Yeah.
we've seen this before. Captains not be able to handle the pressure.
Yeah.
Were you like? I'm kind of surprised how well he's doing, and it's not that I doubted Nick Suzuki's skill level, but there's still so much more pressure there. There's more media in one scrum there than you see at the end of year sessions at
Yeah.
other teams. Are you surprised at how well he's handled everything and on and off the ice?
Well, I think I was prepared for the possibility that, there would be a little bit of a little bit of an adjustment
Mhm.
for Nick at the beginning of the season, but I can't say that I'm surprised. Just, the thing I talked about earlier with his confidence, I think there's a particular makeup that works in Montreal.
Mhm.
And the Habs will only be successful if they have enough of that kind of makeup on the team, just because the pressure is so intense. The fans are cracked. I'm cracked. Like I'm one of the, like I know what that's like because I've loved them since I was a kid. I grew up watching the Montreal Canadiens on a Saturday night on CBC in little rural Newfoundland,
Yep.
and
Me
just
too.
and so like there's a kind of player that can take the constant spotlight, the being recognized at the grocery store, the expectation that you score every night. That if you have an off night, people will be tracking how many shots you had on net. And in most markets, people aren't really that attentive to it. They're watching the game and they're enjoying what's happening and disappointed if there's a loss and happy if there's a win. In Montreal, it's a microscope seems like it's more like a telescope with the way that from everywhere everyone's looking in at this little team,
Mhm.
and it takes a certain character, and I think Nick has that character, and I kind of felt that from the first year,
Yeah.
but I've been saying since the beginning of last year, from the time that it became obvious that Weber wasn't going to be back, just give him the seed. Just make it happen.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. It's so obvious that this personality was built for this role. And
You know who it reminds me of, Lori? And I hesitate to say the name because we're talking about a mythical. I mean, obviously, I think I'm talking about Jean Béliveau, Gros Bill, but
Yeah.
I'll be honest, and this, I don't know if I could compliment him anymore. And I'm not talking about his on ice, but as a person, the way he understands how important this is,
Yeah.
how the fan interactions are important. I believe he is kind of taking the torch there from Jean Béliveau in a certain respect. And again, that is a very touchy subject, but Jean Béliveau has been probably the most important person in the history of this franchise. And I feel like Nick has done a pretty good job, honoring his history. And I mean, was he one of your favorite players, Jean Béliveau, Laurie?
I barely remember much of his time. I mean, my time was more, the era with Lafleur and Shutt, and that sort of that was the era where I
Habs
was
fans are
really
spoiled, eh?
spoiled, like just so spoiled, and I remember the intensity of those games and so on. But even then, like the players in that team that had the personalities to carry it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I heard Michael Farber interviewed a while back, and he described it as, he has the royal jelly. I certainly couldn't define that the way that Farber does. But he was talking about Nick, and he said, he just has that quality that fits the task. And yeah, I mean, I like, speaking of Béliveau is kind of like, it feels a little bit like sacrilege in some ways, but we've been waiting for another, right? We've been waiting for someone.
Yeah, and there has to be a certain level of respect towards the history, and that's where Nick really,
he gets it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. He gets it. Now we're gonna jump into because there's a ton of questions for you, Amanda. And we're gonna get into the next segment. Just one moment. But they want to know, and this is from Noel or Noel. No, I don't know. We're gonna go with Noel. I like that better. What makes it so that Nick and Cole have this chemistry? Like obviously, and I think it's off the ice too. They click so well. So how are they off the ice? Are they moving at the exact same pace as they do when they're scoring goals, or how do they act when there's no game going on?
They're just like two teenage boys that are just having a great time. Just like what you see on the ice, you see off the ice. And there's like Cole is smiling all the time, laughing, joking. And I think he brings Nick out of his shell a little bit. So it's a great friendship that's blossomed since Cole got on. I called him Nicole because somebody from that other program where they put Nick and Cole, it's like Nicole. So
I like that. I was thinking like Sue Field or something, but yeah, all right. Kazuki, no, I like Nicole better. So you're around Cole when the cameras aren't there. I heard from the players that he could be pretty pesky too. I heard he's a little crap disturber out there. Have you seen that from Mr. Caulfield?
I have not.
He's on his best behavior around you, I guess.
He must be. Like he's very polite. He's very friendly. He's just very endearing. He's a sweet kid.
So we've obviously seen Kirby Dach added to that line. I'll throw it to either or, but it's been fun to watch. Why do you think Kirby Dach has complimented Cole and Nick so well?
Maybe Laurie, you want to take that one?
I think that he doesn't have to be the guy on that line. They need someone, they've been looking for someone to compliment them, and I think he's been comfortable to come in and and understand them and play how they play, and I think that's been good for him with the spotlight that he experienced in Chicago, and they weren't having a whole lot of fun there last year and stuff, and I think it's really good for Doc. Everyone's talking about whether he should be playing 2C and so on, and there's time for that.
He's getting points, right? That's the whole.
He's getting points, and if some of their confidence and fun can rub off on Kirby Dach and let him experience that for a bit, have at it. There's no rush to move him anywhere but there. And of course, he's a big body, strong defensive awareness. There's a natural hockey fit there as well. But I think a lot of what's happening this year for the Habs is about is about personality, like forming an identity as a team. And I think that's a really important piece for this is making Doc comfortable and giving him a chance to have fun and be successful and growing confidence with those guys. I think it's fantastic.
We have a question here, Amanda, and it's gonna be, again, we're going back. We've talked about this before, but Ryan is the Joker. You know, he's the Loki in the group here, and Nick is the Thor. And it's funny, we're talking about big bodies and whatnot. I think we need to point out Nick Suzuki is the Canadiens' Iron Man right now. I don't think he's missed a single playoff or regular season game since he started in the NHL, right, Amanda?
That's correct.
Wow, not bad at all.
Yep.
Now, Claire, who's always in our chats, big fan of Claire, asks, Miss Suzuki. Oh, she's being very nice and polite. Do you think Cole reminds Nick of Ryan, like the little pesky brother? Is there that kind of big brother, small brother relationship?
Well, it could be, but I think Cole's got to come. Cole's a little bit more energetic than I would say Ryan is. Ryan is just like the suave, cool little brother, taller than Nick, but so he takes the height in the family. But no, but really Nick and Ryan have a great brotherly relationship. And
that's amazing.
They look, Ryan looks up to Nick and Nick looks out for Ryan, and they talk, once in a while during the week and keep in touch. So that's really nice. But I think Cole is a little bit more, he's more like an Energizer Bunny kind of guy.
That's what even Brendan Gallagher told me. He's like, that guy doesn't stop. He has so much energy. And when Brendan Gallagher says that, I think, yeah, you have to. But they were always like that. Him looking out for Ryan, if I remember correctly, he told me that was essentially how it was their whole lives, right? Nick has always looked out for Ryan as the big brother when things go wrong or when there's advice. He's always been there for him, right?
Always. Yeah, but that's brothers, right? And Ryan's been there for him and vice versa. So, but Ryan would always, Ryan would poke the bear a little bit. And sometimes Nick would let it go. And then sometimes Nick would say enough is enough and have at it.
and put him in his place. Yeah, fair enough.
Yes.
That's
and a few stitches later, that's okay.
Where were the stitches? I need to know this.
I think Ryan got some stitches in the forehead after a body check into the wall
by Nick.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you weren't
after a loss of mini sticks or something like that.
But it wasn't. It didn't. Okay, so no hospital.
Well, he had to go get stitches.
Okay, so we're talking about an actual like flesh wound by Nick. Hey, that's a pretty harsh lesson, right?
Well, they were just little. Flesh is really easily injured when they're little, but these things happen.
So it sounds really normal, Amanda.
Well, you know what?
It's pretty normal.
I grew up with brothers, and it's that was pretty normal. I remember I got mad at my brother because I smashed a hockey stick on his head, and then he broke it, and I was like, I couldn't believe that he broke my stick. So I was the younger brother. I'm gonna put it out there. Speaking of this, and Amanda, I don't want to get too sappy, but when you think back at, let's say, for example, we know Nick had some issues growing up with his ears. He had that surgery as a kid. You spent a lot of time in the hospital with Ryan as well. What's it like now to kind of see, obviously, Ryan's he's with the Wolves right now, if I remember correctly, right? Yeah, and Nick in the NHL. So both your sons are doing great. What's it like to kind of look back now and think like, geez, man, like I think I did. Do you think sometimes we did a good job and you kind of just hug Rob, or what's your do you ever look back at the whole journey?
We just sit there sometimes and go, I just can't believe our kid is in the NHL,
right?
Just like, and I like, we just look at each other and go, how the heck did that happen? But we gave them every opportunity, and this was their passion, their joy. They wanted to do it. It wasn't an effort.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, it was an effort for us to, take the time off work and drive here, there, and everywhere. But, the fun we had meeting all these people across, the hockey community.
Mm-hmm.
I can't ever thank them enough for letting us be part of their journey to where they are.
Well, I think we can thank you, because I'm going to tell you a little anecdote here. when I first started working for the Canadians, or might have been a little bit, maybe about a year in, I was feeling a little homesick. And I'm from Ottawa, so which is obviously in Ontario, and Amanda is in Ontario as well. And I don't know how it came up, Amanda. I completely forget, but we started talking about Miss Vicky's chips and
Yep.
hell of a good dip. So we
Oh, it's because I ate those at every playoff game.
oh yeah, that was your snack of choice. Okay.
That was our snack during the second period.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Amanda gets together with all the girls and you watch like they have a lot of, it looks like they have a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, we do.
So I mentioned how much I loved the hell of a good dip. That's what it's called. And
Hell of a dip.
or hell of
Yeah.
a dip. Yeah, exactly. And it reminded me of my mother too, because she'd always get that. And I just mentioned that in passing to Amanda. Then a day later, she's in Montreal with, obviously there to see Nick, but with a big bag of Miss Vicky's with some dip, and she brought it out to me in the rain. It was pouring rain. We're talking about
Pouring rain.
and I felt bad, but I was like, I want those chips. And Amanda, honestly, that was one of the nicest things anyone has done for me. And I know you were like, it's not a big deal, but it kind of, reminded me of home a little bit. And I was like, wow, this is kind of what my mom would do. So I think I get an idea of what, and again, pouring rain, like it was nails were falling. She met me outside the Bell Center, right in front of the Jean Béliveau was there, Guy Lafleur, and Mama Suzuki giving me chips and dip. So I think we know.
Not the healthiest of choices.
I had it for supper
did.
that night. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
I literally, yeah. And then the next time you brought some up for Safia, my producer. So we know,
Yeah, I did.
we know where
Yeah.
Nick gets his altruism from. No, but seriously, because I've been thinking about it, and I know every time I've done some charity stuff with him, and it took him a little while to get in the groove of it, but he wants to do that. He wants to be, nice to these people, and I think that's such an important aspect of being the Canadiens captain, is knowing your responsibility off the ice. And I think he's so good at it because of how you raised him, in my opinion.
Thank you.
And Rob gets a little bit of credit, right?
Just a little bit. No, Nicholas gets it from both of us. You
Yeah.
know, we've taught them that we've been generous with, family, friends. That's generosity. It's like you give and you get back. The more you give, the more you get back. And it's not about, the thank yous and all that. It's a good thing to do. It's nice things to do for nice people.
Yeah, be good. Yeah, absolutely. It's to treat people the way you want to be treated. And again, I've dealt with a lot of hockey players. Not all of them are very nice. Nick has always been incredibly nice, like just incredibly nice. Now, I want to go back to that trade, and we're going to get into this is going by so fast. But I want to talk about that trade because that was pretty intense for Nick right off the bat. But I'm going to ask you, Lori. I will admit, I was saying the Canadiens need to get Cody Glass from the Knights. I was saying, no, I don't know about this Suzuki kid. I don't know. I might have been wrong about that. And I'm sorry, Amanda. What was your?
I did not know that.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm like, geez, why are they getting this Suzuki kid? He's okay. He was okay in the playoffs, but we need a big guy. Yeah. It was one of the many times I've been wrong. But Lori, what was your take on the trade at that time? I also said they'll never replace Max Pacioretty, and they literally replaced the captain. So I think I might have got that trade wrong. What was your reaction initially?
I think you got it really wrong, as it turns out, but I think most people did at the time. I think that at the time, the thing that I was feeling most, if I'm honest, was that I was surprised that with the drama that followed that trade all summer. That was a painful summer. I like just waiting for that shoe to drop and all the rumors around. You remember the rumors of the draft and so on. And I was just like, at the time, I didn't have strong feelings about Suzuki versus Glass. I was just, I looked at the deal and went, got a center back, got a pick, got a salary dump. Yeah,
you weren't as emotional as I was. That okay, yeah.
To be honest, I was just really surprised that the deal went so well, because it had been so public and it dragged on so long and all that drama around it. But I didn't imagine for a minute that we had gotten a 1C out of that deal.
Well, and I think we actually have to thank Max Pacioretty for all this happening because
Yes.
originally um, it would have been LA and Nick Suzuki would have never made it to Montreal. So we have to thank the old captain there. What was the reaction for Nick? Because Amanda, he's young at this point. He's what? He's 18.
He
You
was
know,
18, yeah.
baby face. Like he's just out of, or he's probably going back to the old. Like, how did he react to the draft and then getting traded to a hockey crazed market? That must have been a lot for him to handle.
I think it took him completely by surprise. That was not what he was expecting. You get off, I think he was playing again, a rookie game against San Jose, I think at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and he had just come off the ice. It wasn't his best game. And then he gets called into the GM's office, and he knew that's typically is not a good thing.
As
So
a
he
rookie
gets
too,
called,
you wow, that's
yeah.
wow.
And then I think, he just said, yeah, you just got traded to Montreal, pack up your stuff and
Get out of here.
yeah, see you later. And then, yeah, so I think he was obviously taken back. Like, you don't know, I'm sure the emotions were going. He was upset, sad, frustrated, mad. No, I don't know. Why am I getting traded? What did I do wrong?
Mm-hmm.
You always go inward and you go, what did I do wrong to deserve this type of thing?
When he's a
And
kid.
then,
Yeah.
like, my husband, Rob, found out on Twitter and that Nick
Wow.
had been traded. And we were all just like, what is going on? And so we knew when Nick showed up to meet us at the hotel. And so we all just, thank God we were there. That's all I have
That's
to say
big to
is
have the
that,
family support because he would have
yeah,
been so lost without mom
yeah.
there,
And
right?
then his agent, Dave Gagne, was there as well. So we all kind of circled around him and became his, support system for that couple of hours. And then Ryan McGill, who was the assistant coach at Vegas at the time, who used to be Nick's coach in Owen Sound, came over. He personally came over, sat down with us, had a nice chat with Nick, told him, like, this is just part of, the organization. This is what happens. You're an asset. It's part of the business, all that kind of stuff. So it was so nice to have Ryan McGill come and talk to us. Somebody from the Vegas Golden Knights walked him over back to us to make sure he was okay. That personal connection was important. It was really, really appreciated by us as his parents that somebody from their organization, took the time to bring him over and made sure he was okay. And,
But you
left
must
him
have,
with us.
as a mom, were you not kind of, hey, how
I was
dare
in
you trade my
tears.
son? Okay, yeah.
I was crying. I was like so upset for him because my heart broke for him because he was so excited to be drafted to the Golden Knights.
It's a new franchise. It's
new
he
franchise.
could become like the
thought,
franchise player. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Under the big
And
lights
he
of
was like,
Vegas.
there's,
Yeah.
the second pick of the Golden Knights in the first round that year. And I think he had so many, great ideas that he wanted to stay there.
His
Vegas
world just got
was
flipped upside
exciting.
down. Yeah.
Yeah. But, in hindsight, it worked out pretty good.
It kind of worked out. Yeah. Do you want to know how bad I got that draft year? I was in a keeper league. So a fantasy league that goes from, it's been going for 15 years. I had the option to pick your son. And again, like I traded down to go get Cody Glass. So I'm just going to say here, I'm probably not the greatest hockey mind. I'm going to be perfectly honest about it. Lori, let's talk shooting percentage. Nick Suzuki has a very, very high shooting percentage right now. Are you worried about that? Don't forget, we got Amanda right here, so like, we're just going to throw it right back at you. If you...
I would be worried about that if Nick Suzuki was a one-trick pony, but he's not. And when the shooting percentage comes back to mean, he'll still be doing all the other things that he does. I'm not, I don't worry about a player of that when one thing goes off the rails with a player of that caliber,
Mhm.
the other stuff always fills in the blanks, and it comes around again. It is what it is, and you live on the run while you have it,
Yeah.
and enjoy it while it lasts, and then you go back to being the same guy you've always been when the puck luck gets a little less present for you. But I'm not worried that I suspect that he's probably always going to be a little bit above average in his shooting
Yep.
percentage.
Because he's slightly above average as a player. Let's admit it. I mean,
But, he's I'm
he has
not
the
worried
most
about that.
5-on-5 points in the entire league, so he's okay.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that being a big issue for him. But he's, I think that Nick is the kind of player that can go 10 games and not score
Mhm.
and still be a very effective player in those 10 games.
Absolutely.
Because
Defensively,
he does so much
he's
else.
elite defensively too. Let's be perfectly honest. Yeah.
Yeah, and his passing is next level, and he's just so smart. That was kind of a question that I had for Amanda was, was he a kid that was just really bright academically, and it was obvious that would be a feature of who he became as a player, because it's obvious that he's just really smart out there on the ice, but also has the insight and the smarts to know what kind of market Montreal is, to know how important the media is, how important the fans are,
Mhm.
how that all contributes to what it means to be not just a captain, but even a player in Montreal. That if you're going to come, you got to embrace all that it is, and I think it's his smarts that gets him there. But maybe you have some thoughts about that, Amanda.
Oh, he was always smart. Obviously he gets that from his dad. He was very good.
Don't sell yourself
academically.
short, Amanda. Do not sell yourself short.
He was always math and science were like his tops, top courses that he excelled in, specifically math. He was really, really good.
Oh yeah.
He was in grade school, he was in a split class.
Okay.
So he was the younger of the split classes. So he was always doing math at the higher grade
level.
And he would always end up finishing work. And his teacher always knew that when Nick would finish first. And so he always had extra stuff for Nick to work on while the rest of the class caught up. So
he's just been excellent at everything all the time. That's just
yeah, he's not excellent at languages. So we're still working on the French.
Son français, yeah, because hey, can we talk about that a little bit? Listen, we texted, right? I sent you, we were talking about that, and you know me, Amanda, je suis francophone. I'm a very, very proud francophone. However, I was kind of thinking, would it happen in any other place in the world where this guy said, I will learn French, and people are like, yeah, darn straight you will. It's like, yeah, he just said he will. And then it became political. There was obviously an election on the way, but I think he handled all that quite well. In terms of that's such a grenade to throw, especially when you understand the politics. The language is very important in Quebec. And again, I will repeat, I'm a proud francophone, but you must have been kind of nervous there seeing your son go through that whole, we're talking about politicians here on their campaign trail saying he must learn French and all that fun stuff. So how is that as a mom to see your son come under fire for absolutely no reason?
Yeah, I'm just, I'll keep my opinion to myself on that front.
See, that's why you're the smart one, because I
still think that he knows it's important.
He does, yes.
To learn the language, and if he says he's going to do it, he will do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so he knows that. I mean, a little will go a long way.
Yeah.
So he just needs to kind of keep building on it every year, and until he can, excel in it. So I just think he knows that it's important to a lot of the fans,
mm-hmm.
and the media as well, and the whole organization is supporting him on that. So if he says he's going to learn it, he's going to learn it.
I've learned to not bet against Nick. He seems to be somewhat successful at what he does, but now I will say this: learning French as an adult is very difficult. Moi, je suis francophone, and I'm very lucky that obviously, I always joke the best way to learn French is be born in a French family. That's pretty much the best way. But we'll give him some time to do that, because kind of busy being one of the best players in the NHL at the same time. So that's
Yeah, I think he needs to focus on that primarily.
Yeah.
First and foremost is his job as being a hockey player.
For
And
sure.
then, he can work on his language skills in the background.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's got that intelligence. But you're saying his languages weren't that good, so he's going to have to get better. Was it
Well,
was it
he
English or
didn't-
what did he struggle with at school?
I would just not English specifically, but it just wasn't his passion. The art side of the
He was
courses,
more creative. Yeah.
school was not his forte, but he's very good artistically as well. He loved playing music and
Well, we have a question in the chat about that. Did they play instruments, Ryan and Nick?
So they went to the Waldorf school here in London, which is an independent school, and they were very, they incorporated art, like drawing and music into the curriculum. So they had to play violin from a young age. So I think in grade 1, they started playing the violin and
What?
so Nick played the violin, and I think he and Ryan just picked up the guitar. Like Ryan started it later in life, and I think Nick is getting interested in it now. But they did both play the violin.
Okay, if I bring him a violin right now, I bring him my Stradivari that I'm keeping in, he'll be able to play it, or
He might remember going back to, it was grade school though, grade 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there.
So you heard
How
it
fun
here.
was the learning, Amanda?
Pardon me?
How fun was the learning?
But for the parents. Oof.
They brought the violins home, so it was like squeaky. It was like, and but I enjoyed it. It was like his grandma loved it because she was a piano teacher. She did teach them both piano. I forgot about grandma. Grandma Marlene Suzuki taught them, all the grandchildren, piano. So, and she made it fun. She would bring them over and they would have a little piano lesson.
That's adorable.
And then they would have dinner together. And so it was their time together, the special time with each of the grandchildren.
And listen, I don't want to get too personal. If ever there's a subject, you don't have to answer it. But Nick had a pretty strong bond with his grandfather as well, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Art has been #1 supporter of Nick since he was little. And, I told you that, Nick got sick quite a bit when he was a baby. And with me working and everything, I couldn't take as much time off. And Art had just retired from 3M. And he was at home, and Art, always volunteered to take Nick. And that's, they did a lot of stuff together when he was a little guy.
Yeah, because it's funny, we talk about how great of a person he's become off the ice, but I think it's quite clear that the fostering at home. And for those that don't know, Rob and Amanda sacrificed a lot, sent Nick to, it wasn't a cheap school, but it was a pretty intense school that really focused on maybe not just the regular curriculum. We're talking about arts and all that. So that was quite a sacrifice as well. Now, we're going to jump to the last, I think we're almost done there. I think we're almost done here. Oh, apparently I'm sending texts to Andrew. Yeah, my phone is old as well. Okay, if you're an NDG, don't get Bell ever. I'm gonna say this right now. Bell is terrible. But we're gonna open up the Q&A for some questions. As we wait for that, Lori, did you have any questions for Madame Suzuki? And I'm gonna go find someone here because there's a lot of as Robert says, Nick Suzuki being able to play the violin, like what that should have been surprising, but it's not surprising at all.
Yeah, it sounds like he's got a lot going on, but I guess a question that's kind of more of a sentimental kind of question. But when did you first know that he was going to be exceptional? Because he's really quite exceptional. And I think anybody who signs an NHL contract is an exceptional kid. I mean, let's be honest. That level in reaching that level of professional hockey is exceptional. But Nick Suzuki is exceptional. And when did you first know that that's who he was?
Well, you're talking to a non-hockey person. I didn't grow up watching the game. I knew nothing about hockey. Rob was the sporty guy. He did every sport imaginable.
Mhm.
And when the boys showed any kind of interest in a sport, we went all in, soccer, hockey, lacrosse, golf, whatever it was. And, I would just go along and Nick would be like, shoot a goal, or Ryan was getting goals. And, you know, I just was like the happy-go-lucky hockey mom going there to support your kid and saying, great job, great job. But I think it was really leading up to the OHL draft. Because again, I didn't understand about the OHL and the draft and this and that, the agents and this and that. It's when I think, Dave Gagne
Dave Gagne,
came
yeah, wow, yeah,
Dave Gagne came to meet with us.
and he's been great for your family. He's been just an
Oh, like,
amazing person for your family, yeah.
if there's ever an agent you want, it's Dave Gagne. And we spent some time with him and his wife in March when we were down in Florida, and I was golfing with Joanne, and I'm like, I just have to tell you how wonderful Dave is. I just want you to know that he's part of our family. You are part of our family. Dave has just been amazing to both of my boys. And I don't know how to thank him enough for taking a chance on him and both my boys too.
Yeah, and it's such a level of trust that you're essentially handing, not all of it, but you're really giving him.
But he's just somebody that the boys can go to for advice.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure that both of us would, not me maybe, but Rob would probably give the boys some really good hockey advice. But I think hearing it from a non-parent, but Dave has been so good with them and calm and, helps them out, and whatever they need, he's able to, figure it out for them.
And speaking of Rob, he's in the chat right now. So do we have video of this? Because he says that Nick can play the Hockey Night in Canada theme on the piano.
Oh, he can. Yeah, he can.
Okay, I'm gonna beg you to video it next time, because we need to see this. Like, it's fun to see him score goals, but I think that's a little more important in the whole hierarchy of what we need to see. So
I think that's the only thing he remembers to play on the piano. So
you know
Grandma
what?
taught him how to do it.
Yeah. I was in conservatoires. I played with like the Ontario, anyways, and all I can remember is "O Canada." That's the only thing I can remember from 12 years of playing piano. All right, we're running really long here, and it's just because I just noticed that we've been going for 50 minutes. 45 of them you could see Lori and Amanda, but at first, obviously, I had them blacked out. Amanda, how has it been to have all these Habs fans interact with you? They've almost fallen in love with you and Rob as much as Nick. It must be pretty kind of weird, kind of cool, kind of intense. How has it been like interacting with all these Habs fans?
I love it. I love it. I know I'm not Nick, and I'm not the NHL hockey star, but I will talk and talk to anybody about Nick. And I was on the train last weekend and going up to Montreal, and I think I saw this little boy get on the train, and he's all in his Hockey Canada stuff. So you knew he was going to the game or something. So I just strike up a conversation, and he happened to be a Pittsburgh Penguin fan. And I said, well, I won't hold that against you, but I'm a Habs fan. And I ended up saying I was Nick's mom, and he was just like floored. And then word got around the train that Nick Suzuki's mom was on the train, and people came up to me and like, you need to come talk to these people. They're from Calgary. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go down and talk to them. So, it's like, but I'm just Amanda. I'm not anybody famous or anything like that. And then I ran into, I think Patricia, I think she goes by Suzuki Pizza.
Oh, yes. She's one of the biggest, not just hockey fans, but Suzuki fan. And
yeah.
I
know she is. Yeah. And
she's probably in the chat right now there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll say hi. I met her at the store, and she's got the bright pink hair, and I'm like, I think that's her, but I wasn't sure. And then I just said to her, are you on Twitter? Are you Patricia? And she goes, yes. And I'm like, I'm Amanda Suzuki. I'm Nick's mom. And because we follow, I follow her or she follows me or whatever, and I like her posts. So I love the interaction.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
all the more, all the merrier. I love doing these podcasts. I feel like some stuff I share repeatedly, others you learn a little bit new from me every time,
Mhm.
but I do enjoy it.
I learn a lot. Is there anything you can share with us that you haven't told everyone yet? Because this is the time we're gonna blow the roof off of.
Oh, I'm sure there's tons, but somebody's got to ask it. So like
what was the most embarrassing thing Nick's ever done on the ice?
Rob would probably be able to tell you better than I did. I would. Oh, I don't know. I can't remember.
When he was younger, when he had a bad game, would he cry about it? Or would he, because every NHLer I've talked to and their parents are like, oh boy, they cried about it all the time.
No, never.
Always been stoic.
Yeah, the only time he was ever upset was when one of his coaches tore a strip off of him before.
I remember that.
He felt he wasn't paying attention to his communication, and he called Nick out on it.
And how old was Nick again?
He might have been, I don't know, 12, 13.
And he called him out in front of the entire room, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and and I think he was embarrassed, and that really, it hit him to the heart because he was an assistant captain at the time. And the coach said, you don't deserve the A or something to that effect. I wasn't in the room.
Well, that coach was an A, but looking back on that, his reaction, Amanda, I mean, he took it rough. And I remember you told me he cried when he came home and he wanted to be with mom, because the rule is we're all mama's boys there. That's what we are. But stuff like that kind of forged him into the kind of leader that he is now, right? He at a young age, he was already mature than many of his coaches.
Yeah, well, I said, you're going to have to call the coach and apologize. I said, this is a lesson. This is a hard lesson. I don't really think you need to apologize, but this is the politics, and this is an adult lesson that, sometimes we have to say apologize when we don't really want to say sorry, but we have to anyway. But, and so it was the hardest thing I'm crying while he's on the phone crying to, leaving a message, and my heart is breaking because all I wanted to do was tear a strip off the coach. Right?
That's what I was, when you were telling me the story originally, I was worried for this guy's health. I'm like, okay, so he ended up in the hospital, because when Mama Eagle's talons come out, that's the scariest thing possible. But this is a really good the moral of the story here is that first of all, the kids have to have fun when they're playing hockey, and if you try to act like a big shot, the kid that you tore a strip off of might become one of the most successful NHL players of all time, and you're probably feeling pretty sheepish about it right now. I
wonder where that coach was on the day of the Habs golf tournament this year.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I wonder if he watches it and he's like, yeah, you know what? He still wasn't great on the penalty kill when he was 12.
No, after they spoke, it was like it was nothing. Like when Nick and the coach actually spoke, it was like, hey buddy, how's it going? It was like nothing ever happened.
Jeez,
I think it was just a moment in the room, and it's just one of these things that happened, and it was a life lesson for him, and maybe it's made him thicker skin and how he can let things roll off his back.
Yeah, and that's obviously a pretty good skill to have. All right, I've kept both of you. And Laurie, I have a million more questions because I have to write some analysis, and you're a lot smarter than me when it comes down to analyzing hockey, and you're able to take your emotions out of it. So I'm going to get back to you on that. Patricia is in the chat. So we're saying hi to Patricia. You are well known in the Suzuki household. Laurie, again, thank you so much for joining us. For those that don't follow you, where can they find you? And I mean, we might go back to Twitter if it exists, but for now, where can they find you, Laurie?
If Twitter is still working, I'm Laurie 10 Habs, Laurie Bennett. You can find my stuff at habacker.ca. And I also write for an East Coast publication, recapspress.com.
Perfect. And great analysis. Also, I'm the worst at these. I was supposed to tell you all to like subscribe and like and all that. So I'm really bad at this promotional stuff. Like Amanda's done this with me with the Habs so many times and I'm always like, I usually have a producer that, you know, Safia, the smart one,
Yeah.
you know, and I guess I'm the pretty one. That's some bad casting right there. But please like and subscribe, and we're going to be coming back with a lot more awesome guests. Like I say, Kat Toffoli will be joining us after the Flames game, and Kat is amazing. You got to know Kat a little bit,
Oh
right?
yeah. Yeah. I got
Great.
to know Toffoli's mom and dad
Oh.
and Kat. I talked to her a few times. She's sweet and adorable.
One of the nicest people ever.
Yeah.
Because that playoff run was really fun.
It
Like
was amazing. Like
it was some of the most fun I've ever had in my
we
life.
loved Tyler with Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just loved watching them play together.
I could reminisce for hours because it was so different. There was the pandemic, there was closed games, but it was the most fun. I think that right there kind of showed Nick, like, this is what you could do in this city. And this is how, you know, when things go right, obviously, there's no better place in the world. Amanda, thank you so much. And I really do mean it when I say that I appreciate everything you've done for us. You're so nice on Twitter. You've helped us out so many times. When I with the Canadiens, when we split, Amanda was right there sending me messages just of support. So it just goes to show you, like, it's not in front of the camera. She is a very good person. And now we kind of have a better idea why Nick has become such a great young man. And they can find you on Twitter, right, Amanda?
That's right. You can find me at Amanda Zooks.
There you go. Amanda Zooks. And her favorite, what is it? Her favorite hockey players are your sons, right?
That my two favorite hockey players call me mom.
I love that. I love that. That is the best possible line. Thank you so much, Lori. Thank you so much, Amanda. Thanks to everyone in the chat, Patricia, everyone. There's too many people to name. Claire, Sarah, all of you. We'll be back next time with Game Over after the next Montreal Canadiens game. But that is it for now. We had an hour with Lori and Amanda. A lot of fun. I could keep going, but my paychecks are going to run out. I got to pay them big money to be on here. So we're running out of funds there. Once again, thank you so much, Lori. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Thanks.
Thank you for having me.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Game over! Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.